Okay, hello everyone. I'm your instructor. Oh, great. Why didn't you tell me it wasn't down? And my name is, excuse me, Tom Blasingame. Alex over in the corner is your grader. You won't see him really until November. So there you go. But Alex is going to hang around a while. Alex is also going to do math recitations on Fridays if we decide we need them, like we did last year. I always like to start by going through the roll and asking everybody to tell a little about themselves. I did send everyone an email tonight. I sent it through eCampus, and I'm sure everybody got it, right? Okay, and then the first assignment is to send me a confirmation that you've read the syllabus. I didn't say that you agree with it, but you have to agree that you've read it. And then the next assignment is I want you to send me a one-page resume. Everybody always says, why do you want one page? Because people lose the second page if you use more than one. And I keep that on hand in case I need to figure out something about you and so forth. And in a minute, we'll talk about how to correspond with me by email. But before we do that, let's get to know everybody. It would be unfair of me to start at the beginning of the alphabet, so we'll start in the middle. Is it Mr. or Ms. Haugland? H-A-U-G. That's you. Yep. What city? Which city in Norway? Okay. You want to tell us anything else about yourself?
I like to play floorball and surfing.
Okay. That's going to be pretty tough in Norway. Okay. Did you have to serve in the military? No, not anymore.
No, I wasn't in the military.
No, but in the old days, everybody had to, right? Yeah. And what's the stupidest thing you've ever done?
Probably 3 days ago. I'm not sure if I'm going to go into detail, but it involved alcohol and inviting new people over and puking.
Well, those are all good things. Excuse me, have you bought a motorcycle yet?
No, probably not going to do that.
Well, in the past, that's what all Norwegians did, is they bought a motorcycle. Well, actually, first, they got drunk, found an American girlfriend, bought a motorcycle, lost the American girlfriend, got drunk, and, okay, does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you want me to pick on next? Einar?
That's me, I guess.
Yeah. Do you go by Guard or Einar?
Yeah, guard. I'm also from Norway, same university as Chile.
Same birthday?
Same university.
Ah, okay. Okay. So you both went to Trondheim?
Yeah.
With Dr. Whitson? Yeah.
Kind of this.
What's the stupidest thing you ever did? While you're talking, everybody has some pizza. It's in the back. Alex, make sure they... Oh, and they won't do anything until I tell them.
Exactly.
Okay. Get up. Go get some pizza. The Norwegians already did. You haven't finished. You know, this is being recorded, so you're dragging it out. Okay? Or you're giving me a headache, so hurry up.
Well, it was actually the same night.
Okay, we've heard this story before.
Because I was the one who had to this other guy starts yelling at me.
Do you have a cartoon in Norway, like there's one really smart guy with one really dumb guy, and it shows their life together? I'm thinking I'm looking at it right now. It's good to have some Norwegians. Motorcycle? Definitely thinking about it, right? Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go next? How about well, there's two Wangs. We have Men and Winshee. Is that right? Okay. Men?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Min, and I'm from Math Department, and this is my fourth year of my major. My focus is on finite element methods. So basically, I'm looking forward to look more on petroleum engineering stuff. This last semester, I went to Qatar and worked a little bit on some topics on petroleum engineering.
Okay. Do you have an engineering degree anywhere in your background?
No,
Okay. You think you're going to be okay with this?
uh,
The words might get a little weird, you know?
oh,
I remember when I took math, and actually I may have taken this class twice if I recall, but the TA was explaining that they didn't understand what density was, but that here's how you solve the math problem. So if you don't care what density is and you can solve the math problem, you'll probably be okay, but it might help a little bit if you know what density is. Okay. Well, it's good to have you. I think you'll like it. And pass the candy bucket around. So let's see, this must be the other Miss Wang? Yes? Okay.
geomechanics on hydraulic fracture.
Okay.
I want to learn more how it's can be used.
Okay. Very good. So you know, we're going to start at the beginning. So probably you could teach most of this. And then when we get to yours, maybe we'll see, huh? Okay. Good to have you. Okay, let's jump around. Where's Mr. Ravakumar? Okay, very good.
Hello, I'm Arjun. I just joined my PhD here under Dr. Lee. Don't know what I'm going to do yet, but maybe check.
Okay, and you were at University of Houston.
Yes.
Yeah, I took a peek at your LinkedIn.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you have any stalkers on LinkedIn?
do I?
Yeah.
I don't. See, they don't reveal names on LinkedIn, right? So
Yeah.
plenty, but I don't know them. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But if you really try hard, you can figure out who it is.
maybe.
You know, like the same day you sent something to the professor who then stalks you on LinkedIn. It might work.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that people reverse stalked you, you know. But anyway, okay, nice to have you. And
The stupidest thing ever, and I already got a motorcycle.
sorry?
I already got a motorcycle.
Okay. And you're missing a foot or what?
No, that's my number.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I was hoping there was some other happy ending to this story, but okay. No problem. Well, we don't want to pick another Norwegian yet. Where's Mr. Elliott? Okay. And how come it's spelled different?
I think someone was probably illiterate somewhere along the line and stuff.
That is so cool. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Alexander Elliott. I did my undergrad here at A&M in civil engineering. Entering the second year of my master's.
So what did, well, I shouldn't ask. You know what the question is. Give it to us.
Stupidest thing I've ever done. So I was convinced to try to use a trash can as an impromptu bottle opener. And I shattered a beer bottle in my hand. Decided I was still having fun, so we poured some rum on it, wrapped it in paper towel and duct tape. Went to the hospital 12 hours later, told me it was too late for stitches. Everyone came in to look at my wound. And then I admitted that to the Navy when I was going through my med.
So, let's see the hand.
You have to get close, it's not that good.
Well, come on, show me. That little thing?
Yeah, it's fine.
So you see this one? You should never try to help a dog after somebody else ran over it. Okay, does everybody? Yeah.
Good advice.
So I got to go to the hospital and bleed in a bowl for 12 hours waiting for the quackologist to come see me. And yeah, and he wouldn't stitch it up either. So that was a nice day for me. Had to go to Azerbaijan the next day. That was 1994, so I looked like I had a boxing glove, you know. That made me real popular. Well, that's great. That's a good story. Anything else you want to share? What's your favorite thing about College Station? Ooh. What's your least favorite thing about College Station? The people. Okay, good. All right, who wants to be next? Where's Marius? Another one. Are you guys always going to sit together?
Probably. Not really. My name is Marius. I'm from the same university as Laplace, Trondheim, and I'm here for 1 year as a graduate transfer.
Oh, you are.
The thing that I've done is I have a similar story trying to help the dog. It was really crazy, and I almost lost my fingertip. So yeah, that was probably a stupid thing.
How's the dog?
How the dog was? Well, he got fucked up in his mouth.
You know it's being recorded, right? Thank you. We had another Norwegian student, Arne Crow, about almost 20 years ago. He had the same vocabulary as you. I'm not going to call on you very often, or if I do, Mr. Elliott and his duct tape are going to sit next to you. Okay, let's try something else. How about Mr. Aldana? Where are you? Okay, very good. No habla?
Oh yeah, just thinking what am I going to say? I'm Petroleum Engineer from Colombia. I got my bachelor there and I'm doing master.
This was in
I'm
Bucaramanga.
intending to be here for the master and maybe continue in the PhD studies.
Okay. And your background is petrophysics, if I remember?
Yeah, that's what I love.
And you worked in the Ecopatrol lab, or no?
I went there.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No?
You grew up in Bucaramanga, or what? Where did you grow up?
In Colombia, in Bogotá.
It's a big place. Yeah, okay. But you went to school in Bucaramanga.
Oh, in Neiva.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. 5-hour drive from Bogotá, about city. I would say pretty much like this temperature.
Like here?
Yeah. But the humidity is higher.
Oh, just wait, my friend.
You're very well.
Why don't you talk to Mr. Elliott? Okay. Yeah, wait till July when your tongue's hanging out. Actually, it's usually the hottest day of the year is about now, but I guess not. Okay, Mr. Goreski? Goreski? Okay. Goresti? I would have never caught that. Okay.
Name's Cam. I'm a first year master's student. Did my undergrad in Petroleum Engineering at Penn State. Excited to be here.
What was the best thing about Penn State?
Not the weather. Bars were fun.
Did you and Dr. Erdogan get along well?
I actually only had him for a senior design class. My last year was when he was kind of
Phasing out. Yeah, he retired. Okay. Did you have any kind of internships?
No, I was supposed to, and then the downturn kind of like a month before I was supposed to start the whole intern program.
And I guess, let's see, Dr. Johns.
Yeah,
And I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry. Okay. We'll talk later. Stupidest thing you ever did?
there's a list. Turned my car into a sled one time. Not on purpose. The winters up there are pleasant.
Are you not from there?
I'm from Pittsburgh. I just got my license. A little ambitious trying to get to basketball practice in the morning.
You need to tell these guys about Pittsburgh at some point. Not right now. They need to know it's an American Renaissance story, you know.
How do you guys want to know?
Used to be the nastiest place in the...
It's clean now. I mean, shale kind of died out of there.
Alrighty. Well, that's good. Anything special you want to tell us about yourself? You got some trick word that makes you crazy?
No, not really.
Thanks for that.
I mean, I looked at the syllabus, it's kind of everything I didn't like in undergrad, so.
You came to the right place. Trust me, you and I are going to get along fine. Okay, where's Mr. Mayol? Ah, good. That was the one in St. Louis. In St. Louis? Okay, Washington and Lee. Yes. Little. Oh, did you say Lee? I didn't hear you. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I had a cousin who went there. He's kind of a snob, but it's okay. He seemed all right. What made you want to go there?
I got a scholarship there. Like I don't know about my high school in Argentina. I got some sort of agreement that
Some special agreement.
admissions would go down there. Just pay you to go. Just
Where were you born in Argentina?
it's a 3-hour drive down south of Buenos Aires.
So not far from town. Okay. What's the percentage of the population of Argentina that lives in Buenos Aires? More like a third. Yeah.
I think it's 12 million.
Yeah, a bit more than that, but yeah, plus or minus. Okay. Good. You know Dr. Barafet's from Argentina, right? From Salta. Sorry?
I work with
Okay. Mr. Sarkor. Ah,
Hi, I'm Professor Scott. I did Petroleum Engineering from India. I worked for a year in Shell.
in Shell. Yeah, did you like it?
And it was a nice experience.
Do you have a tattoo or anything? Did they cut a piece of your brain out? No. You won't say anyway. Okay. Mr. Liu, or Miss Liu.
My name's Radu, and this is my 4th year as a petroleum engineering student here, and I work for Dr. Wellbore, and my research is about production analysis and production forecasting, as Dr. Blasingame did 30 years ago. But I just focused on fractured well, and the stupid thing I had done, I was pulled off by an officer for the expired sticker. But actually, I had registered the sticker, but I was too lazy to take it off.
That was here.
Yeah.
So what did he do?
I just said, sorry, officer. I just showed him the registered one, and he just gave me a warning.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good story. That's the stupidest thing you've ever done?
Maybe the latest.
Okay. Okay, we'll see if we can do better than that. Mr. Siegel?
My name's Gabriel Siegel. First year master's student. I did my undergrad here in Petroleum Engineering, so my 5th year in college. And now I'm getting stopped.
Stupidest thing you've ever done?
I guess if I should go along the lines of alcohol related, I once stripped down in my underwear and ran around college station.
You do realize this is a family channel. Okay.
And I came back with a frisbee. I don't know.
No underwear but a frisbee.
I still.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good story. Yeah. So if we nickname you Frisbee,
It had someone's phone number on it. Did anyone call?
oh my God. There's nothing I can add. Man, there's a lot of stupid alcohol stories here.
We could add on me and Cam, but then I had a wrestling match from the church.
If it involved underwear and frisbees, I'm not sure I want to know. You didn't tell us about this.
I think it was a big deal. He's like, Cam, you can't beat me in wrestling. All right.
This is going to be a great semester. Mr. Sen. Or Miss Sen. S-E-N? AOL. Or AWOL, sorry. Not here. Mr. or Ms. Zhang? Zhang? Yeah. Yeah, good. I guessed, because you're sitting next to the other person from the math department.
I haven't decided what I want to do yet, but I think I would like to learn something more than just math. So here I am.
Good. That's a good attitude. So I have a nephew who's one of these geniuses, you know, and you look at him and he kind of looks like that all the time. And I said, Max, what are you going to do with your life? He says, I want to go into physics. I said, physics? Nobody goes into pure science. I said, you know, Max, it's really hard. I mean, you have to learn a lot of stuff and it's kind of useless and everything else. And I said, anyway, if you can't see this stuff in your head, you really shouldn't go into it. He looks at me and goes, how'd you know? Like, go. Just go. He graduated Caltech at 21 with a PhD. So, you know, there you go. I think he still works at McDonald's, but. Okay, Mr. Desai. Where are you? Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachid. I'm from India. I just finished my degree and I'm first year master's.
Excellent. Mr. Bate?
Everyone, my name is Monday. It's been 2 years here and this is my fifth semester of PhD. I'm working in Laplace school and my research is mainly on alternative or transport properties of deconvolution hydrocarbon system in nanoporous areas.
Can you say that all in one sentence again? That's pretty good. Do you like working with Dr. Akutlu? And remember, it's being recorded. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. You can't have favorites, but he's a good colleague. Well, this should be an interesting term for you and me. Okay. Mr. Anderson, where are you? Oh, you want to be Mr. Anderson. Okay. Please.
I also come from Norway.
I would have never guessed. Yeah.
I'm mainly here to learn about drilling, but I get some knowledge for rust tests as well. That's my this course. From the southern part of Norway.
There's a southern part?
Yeah, there is. Believe it or not, I see a lot of similarity in Texas and my
You know, I keep telling my wife that you know, my family lives in New Zealand, and every time I do, she acts like I'm an idiot. But, you know, your eyes see what they see. You see cows and you see trees, and you think everything's okay. Except here it doesn't freeze in the wintertime. No. Well, maybe, once every, who's been here a long time? Once every 10 years or something, you know. But you can go stand inside the refrigerator or something if you want. I mean, it does get cool. You'll like it. But it's kind of like a, you know, a nice summer day in Norway. Anything else you want to add? Well, let's change the subject. What did you really want to be when you grow up, you know, when you were a little kid? You wanted to be George Bush, I bet. For the those of you who aren't here, he's stumbling his words. I think I hit a nerve. Really? How come you changed your career path? Probably because there's not a lot of fires in Norway and you'd have to start your own. Have you ever been to jail? To jail? No. Yeah, that was the longest pause. You're already here. You're not applying anymore. Yeah, yeah. What was it? Sorry? Yeah, yeah.
When the guy goes to prison or to jail, so that really doesn't count, right?
No, I know. Because when I was in Norway, I asked about the jail, and you get Sky TV, you get a room by yourself and everything else. But also in Lillehammer, the guy tried to buy a driver's license. Can you do that in Norway? No. There's so many things you can't do in Norway. The TV show? Oh, yeah, right. Shut up. He went to Norway for his degree. He worked with Dr. Larson, so. But that's at the other school, you know. Yeah. He could probably speak Norwegian to you, but he's going to not do very well. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? All four of you live together. Oh, my God. I predict that somebody is going to get a late night call to go down to the Brazos County courthouse with some money to get you four out of jail. And it won't be a Norwegian jail. Okay, who did I miss? Mr. Bryan. Present.
My name's Eric Bryan. I did my undergraduate at Cornell School of Petroleum Engineering and just started my master's here.
Okay. And?
Stupidest thing I've ever done? Dating my ex-girlfriend.
You can't tell us that and not give details.
I was thinking for the crazies, apparently.
Well, you know, they say. Any rate, I'll change the subject now. We'll learn more later. Is there anybody we didn't call? Yes.
Yeah, my name is Ricardo. I'm from Indonesia. Probably because I haven't registered for this class yet.
Okay.
I was thinking for this class.
Okay. Stupidest thing you've ever done?
Yeah, probably what I can remember is doing my sophomore. There's one cute girl that I like. And
Is this going to end like his story?
but I think at the moment I didn't have the courage to ask her name and get the number. So my friend gave me some helmet to put me on, and I did took the helmet and flew to the girl just to ask his number, and I took her fine.
You put on a helmet? Like Darth Vader or something? Or what?
Just something like that.
And you're surprised she didn't want to have a relationship with you? Mr. Bryan, is this something?
At least his tires didn't get slashed.
You got your tires
My
slashed.
tires.
That is really cool. Well, ladies, do you want to add anything? No? Okay, time to get on with the course. Very good. Nobody went and got any pizza. I'm not buying this for my health, guys. Go have some pizza. Okay, so in simple terms, the goal of Petty 620 is to take the student from sand grains to the classic solutions used in reservoir engineering. My math ladies, do you know what sand grains are? Dirt? You know, like at the beach? Do you think that oil comes out of holes in the ground shaped like dinosaurs? Yeah, maybe. Okay. Shut up. The Norwegians can't talk, they're eating. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about sort of geology aspects. We're going to have a math review, but I think actually, Alex, I may skip that and let you take it. Let you do the math reviews on, you know, no? Why not? No. If I'd let you do the math lectures instead of me. I know you can. That's why I'm telling you you'll do it. And so that'll probably be yes, it was definitely a question. Thank you. And then what happens is we go and we talk about different numerical methods, and I'm a little bit intimidated by the math ladies, but we'll hopefully that won't go too far. We'll talk about differential equations. We'll have special functions, and special functions does not mean a party. And then, like I said, I think I'm going to let Alex do that. If you don't mind, we'll talk about it because I've got to be gone part of next week, so you could really catch up. And then we proceed to the mostly empirical aspects of geology and geophysics, that is rock properties, and then on to the fundamental building blocks of reservoir engineering, which is permeability, capillary pressure, relative permeability, and electrical properties. After this, we start working through the flow relations, which is steady state Darcy flow and non-Darcy flow. Material balance, which is what we use for conservation of mass. By the way, do we have any chemical engineers in here? No? Oh, this is going to be lonely. Oh, good. You should have never raised your hand. You know, chemical engineers are, torturing them is kind of like a hobby for me. Because I couldn't be a chemical engineer. Yeah, that's. I can see you've taken a diplomacy class too, but too bad you're already labeled chemical engineering. Then pseudo steady state flow, and then finally the diffusivity equations, which are the time and distance dependent differential equations. And then we'll talk about how we did all this, and fundamentally. Next, we'll take these differential equations and solve them for different conditions and develop the classical reservoir engineering solutions. I need to stop and say something at this point. I chaired a conference last week in Houston that was invitation only. And, sometimes, like you invite your crazy cousin or accidentally your crazy ex-girlfriend, and we had a few of those. And we unfortunately had some people that were starting to talk about killing so-and-so, and the topic came up of killing Darcy. You guys know Darcy? Yeah? So why would we want to kill Darcy? Mr. Bake, you want to help me with that? Is Darcy's law correct? Yes, no, or maybe? Correct answer. No. Are you 100% sure? It is an approximation. So what do we use? What should we be doing? Yes, sir. Okay, that is what we would have said 80 years ago. And why did we stop using the Forsheimer equation? The diffusivity equation cannot be solved with the Forsheimer equation directly. It has to be solved numerically, right? Your friends in Norway, did you have Dr. The Adnoy? Is he at Stavanger or at NTNU? Aadnoy. He must be. Is he a Trondheim? No, the drilling guy, but he's a mathematician. And they solved the Forsheimer equation for a very limiting case using perturbation theory. But to be honest, you cannot solve the non-Darcy case, the Forsheimer case, except numerically. But good insight. But let's come back over here. Why do we want to? Okay, we're going to kill Darcy and Forsheimer. How's that? Okay. Keep talking. We want to kill Darcy. So is Darcy's law right? Is Forsheimer's equation, I guess we don't call it a law, correct? It's not like, no, you got to give me more.
So actually, regarding my research area, I'm working on shale research, especially the kerosene material, which is a carbon material, and there are a lot of nano-porous pores. So in that scale, normally those conventional approximations for theory do not work completely.
What was your first degree in? Your bachelor's degree. You didn't answer that whenever I said before. How do you think I knew your first degree was in chemical engineering? Because it had to be. Because no petroleum engineer would ever say the words you just said. So do you want to kill petroleum engineers? So if we had an entire class on killing Darcy, where would you start? Would you start at Brownian motion? Molecules just sort of bouncing around in 3 space? And then start packing some more molecules in there? If we pack enough molecules in there, what is it? Is it realistic that it could behave like a bulk fluid?
But as you said, it is just approximation.
Correct, but does your brain process information visually? Do you think in pictures? You know, when you were a little boy, did your mother hold up a picture of a duck and say quack? No? My mother did. Did your mother hold up a picture of a chicken? No? A little. Okay, very good. So if you see a response that matches exactly the response you would expect from a Darcy flow equation, what's your brain tell you? If it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. But you're saying it's not a duck. And I agree. We know that it's not really a duck. So the bigger question is, why does it look like a duck? And the rest of you are going, what the hell's going on? Mr. Bryan, who was your least favorite professor at Colorado School of Mines? Did it start with Erdahl and end with Oscan? Okay, there we have it.
No, Erdahl, he's a great man.
So Dr. Oscan was the one that said we have to kill Darcy at this conference last week. Why did he say that? Because at nanoscale, we know Darcy's law is not valid. But how do we model something at nanoscale? Can you create a reservoir simulator at nanoscale?
Right at this moment, no, but we are trying to, and we are reaching that level.
Okay. How big of a sample would you be looking at? Maybe a cubic centimeter?
Yes, but we only focus on micrometers.
Okay, but I'm saying that if we had a reservoir simulator that modeled nanoscale flow, a cubic centimeter would be gigantic, right? How big are petroleum reservoirs, class? A small one would be the size of College Station. How are we going to scale it up? We got problems. You guys think your career is over? You think this is a dead industry? These are big problems. You guys want to be drillers, right? All of you? All three of you? Four of you? Show me your teeth. Have you ever been on a drilling rig? Yeah? Sorry? Like a visitor, or did you actually get your hands dirty? Yeah. So when you're actually a driller, the first thing that happens, you get a few teeth knocked out, maybe lose a finger or two, you know, that sort of thing. Hey, you got to suffer for your art. So what's the next big challenge in drilling? What's the longest horizontal drill? Horizontal section. Sorry? Approximately. Very good. Where is it? More specifically. Ladies? It's closer to your home. Tell them where it is. You're Chinese, not Japanese. But if you were Japanese, what island used to be part of Japan? The Kurils, of course, but Sakhalin as well, right? A couple of 100 years ago, I think. And they lost Sakhalin Island to Russia in, what is it, the Russo-Japanese War. So it's offshore Sakhalin Island. Why did they drill a 10-kilometer well? Horizontal section. And by the way, it's horizontal and then drops down in the reservoir. Why did they do that? Why? 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 What's your favorite thing in Norway? Maybe I shouldn't ask you. Let's go to the next one. What do you have a lot of in, what do you call it, Svalbard? Yeah. Ice. So do you think they drilled those wells from land because they didn't want to have to put a platform there? That what would they have to do? They'd have to move it, right? Okay. In 1984, offshore California, they drilled a 19,000 foot semi-horizontal section to do the same thing, to drop off. Okay. So what's the next big challenge in drilling? 10 kilometers. That's from here to well past the end of town. It's a long ways. What's the next big challenge? What's the next big challenge in production engineering? Okay, this is a reservoir class, so these are silly questions, but what's the biggest challenge in your career in reservoir engineering? Unfortunately, that is the most common answer I'm hearing right now, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. We spent billions upon billions of dollars on EOR in the 70s and 80s, research. And all of it died with the people that left, retired, died, whatever. Okay, so now we're starting over again. Penn State, Dr. Johns, what's his specialty? Gas injection, EOR. You got these gas injection EOR guys all over the place. Okay. Good point. What's our average oil recovery from a shale? Ladies? I'll bring a piece of rock next time. Alex, go get a piece of rock from the classroom, since they've never seen it. Or, sorry, from the office. Get the dirtiest, nastiest piece you can find. Okay. Anybody? What's the recovery? Nobody's going to... Sorry? 8? 8%? Where'd you make that up? You think so? Okay. Anybody else? 5? 10%. Anybody else? No habla? 5%. I'd probably be more about 5%. Why? Where's my chemical engineers? When we do material balance on a undersaturated oil, what's our typical recovery? Just based on the energy in the oil itself? 5 to 7%, maybe 10. Okay. So how are we going to get that extra oil out? Oh, and by the way, in those little spaces you were talking about, how does the oil move? We're not sure. We're not sure. Oh, you went chemical engineering on us again. So you're saying that there's some chemical gradient or chemical energy difference that causes this. Do you remember what they used to do to witches? You know what witches are? Yeah, they were ladies that could talk to the dead and things like that. Yeah, what did they do to them? They set them on fire, you know. Witch! Anybody else? So why do we have to have a course on classical reservoir engineering? Why are we going to spend the whole term talking about classical reservoir engineering? We have to know what the standard practice is. We have to be able to use the standard relationships. We have to understand what all the assumptions and limitations of those are before we jump to the nanoscale. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I know this is not what you expected from class tonight, but when I went to this conference last week, I had given up on trying to do what you're suggesting. A number of years ago, I said the most urgent priority is storage and transport at the nanoscale. Come to me. You can hand that to them. You're a petrophysics guy, right? What's this one got in it? Mucho petroleo. Let's see if you're a rock licker. You guys know it? Okay, so they drilled holes to take samples out of it, right? The wells are generally like this. How come they drilled a hole vertically? Vertical permeability. This is actually like a bowling ball. You know, just do that. Pass them around. Man, this is pretty nasty. Is this pyrite? Yeah, look at all that pyrite. This is what oil comes out of, ladies. Minus the holes. They're not in there. Okay, we drilled the holes in there. So our job is to figure out how to get oil and gas out of these things. Anybody got a hobby in petroleum engineering they want to talk about? Go ahead.
Oh, I was,
You're listening.
no, I was,
You want to be entertained.
no,
Were you like a comedian or something?
I tried.
Really?
Yeah.
How did it go?
They laughed,
That's why you.
They laughed at me trying to make me.
Okay.
So I was successful.
You're here.
Yes. Then I became a chemical engineer. Then
Okay.
they laughed at me again.
I can't imagine why. Okay. So that's just the first page. Here's all about what I'm going to expect. And unfortunately, I did not check this computer, but they do not have the Adobe Acrobat Professional, which is what I requested. And also, I can't use the pen because I use Adobe. And if I demonstrated what happens when I use the pen, then we'd have to do the video over again. By the way, why do I make an extra video? Because sometimes things don't work. Tonight it works. But if it don't work, then what happens? We got to do it again. What's the sign of a good engineer? They're willing to do it again and again and again. I'm not a good engineer. I'm lazy. I just want to do it once. That's why I make my own videos. The main videos will be on eCampus. The backup videos will be on my website. You'll see this posted later tonight. Okay. That's why I wear this stupid thing. So orientation. This is graduate school. The only person you're competing against is you. If we have all A's in this class, I'm happy. If we have all B's in this class, I'm happy. If we have all C's in this class, I'm not so happy. Okay. I suspect we'll have all A's except for the Norwegians. About mid-semester, they'll be on a work farm outside of town. You guys have work farms in Norway? Yeah, instead of jail, they let you out to go work in the work farm. They like that. Is that right? Yeah, I can't imagine that. Okay. So work quality. My highest commandment is submit your best work and only your best work. 3 months from now, when you're turning all this stuff in, remember those words. They're all looking at me like I'm insane. Alex, do you want to explain to these people that you read every word, every line, and you create a spreadsheet with every problem, and you assign the points to it, and then you hand me the results? This guy is like the Terminator, okay? Unfortunately, he's also like the Terminator, and sometimes he doesn't think. He just does. That's where I'm like the heart of the Terminator, you know? I come back and I think about, well, maybe there needs to be a curve or something like that. You know, am I far off? Although sometimes I grade harder than you do. I know. Thank you. Now my secret's out. You're such a jerk. Okay. So this is an essential course in reservoir engineering. Result, you know, everything we do is used throughout the discipline. Timeliness, this is really dense. Don't underestimate the workload. You looked at the dates that things are due? November. It's a long time off. Who cares, right? You'll see. The materials will teach itself, but you have to put a little effort into it. That means all I got to do is stand up here and yell at you. No, I'm going to work it. I guarantee you I'll work harder than you do. I'm here to help, and I'll answer any relevant correspondence you have for me, and I'll do it within 24 hours unless I'm, you know, on an airplane or something like that. But relevant means what, Mr. Bryan? My girlfriend has found me in Texas, and I don't know what to do. Well, that actually falls under relevant, sort of, because I don't want you to get killed. But, you know, telling me about the reason you can't do something the day before it's due is not going to make me happy. Not that you would do that. Okay. So here's all the books that you need. And what do you think about that? Yes?
Is it necessary with the advanced mathematics book? Number 1A.
Yeah? Is there what?
Yeah, is it necessary? I mean,
If it's in red, it's necessary. If it's in black, we'll see. And some of these are available electronically. You know what I mean? Okay. Everything in the course is located at this site. And I'm thinking about this, Alex. I'm thinking real hard. I made the due date for the homework portfolio the 20th of November, but I'm thinking about making it the 4th of December, the 11th. The final exam will be given on the 4th. Are you okay with that? I just didn't want them working on it over Thanksgiving. Do you guys want the 4th of December or the 20th of November? Okay. You realize the day you turn it in, you're going to get the final exam. The final exam is not that hard. There's a couple of problems on it that are impossible, but, you know, and no, I didn't put the final exam anywhere where you can find it. So that was why I'm saving it till the 4th of December. And let me explain what impossible means. I just want you to give it a hard try, okay? I don't expect perfection in problems like that. And I shouldn't say it's impossible. There's just a couple of problems that are kind of classic, difficult problems. And, you know, I like to stretch you guys a little bit. The other three are pretty straightforward. Oops. Did I say 5? There you go. Okay. So we'll change this to the 4th. And the final examination will be given on the 4th. This is a typo. It'll be due on the 11th. Okay. All this is in accordance with the university procedure for this class, for the time that this class meets. Speaking of which, did we go to 9:30? No, 9:10. Okay. And I can assure you that at 9:10, this thing will turn off because that's how the university went to a system that's now automated, so we can't get any more time out of it. Okay, memorize this, Norwegians. And memorize this, everybody else. What does this mean? Behave. You're graduate students. Your days of desperation are over. Okay, what does this red text mean? Who wants to be my guinea pig? Where's my comedian? Mr. Ravi Kumar. What's the red mean?
That's how you type your email.
And you already did this today.
Twice.
That's correct. How about a hug? Very good. What happens if you don't do this?
You reply.
I'll probably reply and tell you I won't accept it.
Oh.
Okay. Norwegians. Is 50 years old? It's practically dead, right? Anybody in here want to speculate who the oldest person is? Well, other than me, of course. Alex, I don't even think you'd be the oldest. Maybe. Maybe. So, when I turned 50, my wife told me that my filter got clogged and that I was no longer a very nice person. What does she know? You know? I need you to do this for me. It drives me crazy. My obsessive compulsive disorder is making me even crazier. Why do I want you to correspond with me this way? How many of you are there? There's 24. How many other graduate students do I have? A bunch. How many emails do I get a day? A couple of hundred. You want me to sort through yours, you do this, and we'll be happy. I'll create a folder on each and every one of you, and I'll store it in there. This official university correspondence. And if you want to say, send me a note and say, hey, Tom, what's up? That's fine. I'll be happy to answer it. And if you call my mobile, I would be willing to bet 99% of the time I will not answer it. Why? Because my number's been hacked. And I do not want to buy a timeshare in Colombia. I do not want to buy a car in China. I don't want to own, a piece of land in Austin. I don't want to give to the firefighters fund in, Africa. Just, Do I answer my phone very often? No. And there's this thing, what's it called? It's Alex or Alexander? Yeah. You got this do not call.gov thing? Did you ever heard that? Yeah, type it in. It says if you put your number here, they won't call you. It's like a magnet. You put your number in there, and everybody calls you. So if you give me your phone number, I'll either text you or email you first. I won't just call you, unless it's a bona fide emergency on your part, not mine. Okay? But I'd like for you to follow this. I know I've spent way too much time on this. Sorry. Just don't make me crazy. Enough said about that. All right, computational tools. Ladies, do you guys use computers? Yeah. I know it's a stupid question, but I don't know what kind of math you do. Do you do computational math? Okay. So I had a chemistry student one time in this class, and actually I admitted him to university, and he had a 4.0. What I didn't know is there's two chemistry tracks. One of them is non-math, like 0. They just draw symbols all day, like little hieroglyphics or something. He did not end well in petroleum engineering. So you guys can do calculations. I don't think there were very many calculations in this problem.
That's fair.
No, not this year either, from what I showed you. So it may not be too bad. Yeah, but I don't even think I put a Stayfest problem in. Maybe we'll change one out for the final. That's a good idea. They should be able to do that. How many of you have used Mathematica? MATLAB. MATLAB does symbolic calculations, right, Alex? You should not use MATLAB. You can use it to check it, but you better work your problems with, like, your pencil or something. Do not submit computer solutions. Here's all our topics. And like I said, I'm going to ask Alex to do this for me. And it's not because I'm lazy. It's because he really wants to be a teacher, but he won't admit it. And then we'll start the material here. And there's a lot of learning. Notice I didn't say pain, but there's a lot of things in those topics. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Is anything missing? What do I not cover, Alex? I typically don't cover horizontal well solutions. I typically don't cover the radial composite solutions. I have used different models for skin factor. I have done multi-layer. I haven't really done dual permeability, but maybe we will. Mr. Beck, you were telling us that this nanoscale stuff is really the way to go, right? If we have a dual permeability or a multi-layer system, is that trying to account for something? Say we're producing oil and water simultaneously. I'm just trying to help here. I'm trying to imagine when we have multiple systems, independent multiple systems, or let's say quasi-independent multiple systems. Just curious. Because oil and water are together in this rock, right? And gas. Yeah, we might think about that. What's the largest gas field in the world? What's the name? No habla. Who owns the other half of it? The Iranians. What's it called in Iran? It's called the South Pars Field. What's it called in Qatar? It's called the North Field. Not to be confused with the North Dome Field, which is an oil reservoir. Okay. How large is it, roughly speaking? It's roughly 1,000 trillion cubic feet, roughly. The numbers vary. What's the gas in place of the second largest gas reservoir? I think like the second, third, and fourth are in Russia. So, and the numbers are kind of sketchy, but they're on the order of a few hundred TCF. Okay. What about what's supposedly the largest gas reservoir in the United States? Okay. Did you ever have Dr. Engelder? How did it go?
He likes to talk about himself a lot.
You're the second person in a week who's told me that. That is terrible.
Well, he basically refers to himself as the father of Marcellus on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I happened to be with Bill Zagorski last week, who's VP at Range, who convinced Range to develop the Marcellus. It's interesting how success has many fathers and failure is but an orphan. What's the stated gas in place for the Marcellus Shale? It's about 183 trillion cubic feet. What's the number that Dr. Engelder wanted? Do you remember? It was about 560 trillion cubic feet. How much does the United States use a year? 22, 23 trillion cubic feet, maybe a little more. So that would conceivably supply the United States for a long time. The Utica is sort of overlapping. I haven't seen any estimates of the Utica I'd really feel comfortable with, but
That's significant.
it's extremely prolific where it produces. I mean, you have some wells that produce 60 million cubic feet a day, if that's what you're thinking. I just don't recall what the reserves numbers would be. I don't seem to recall more than a couple of hundred TCF on the.
It runs more east to west.
It's along the Ohio side.
Yeah, it's like
and,
Ohio.
and of course, it magically all stops in New York. Do you guys know why it magically all stops in New York? Sorry? They banned hydraulic fracturing. That's right.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend was she lived in New York at the time. She said she saw the Schlumberger trucks moving out.
So you and Eric got a lot in common. What's the largest? Well, I shouldn't say largest. Anybody here from Oklahoma? Kansas? North Texas? Never heard? Nothing. I got nothing. Okay. Eastern Colorado? The Hugoton? Ever heard of the Hugoton? No? Hugoton Gas Reservoir? Approximately 89 TCF, something like that. It's 4 zones. They're independent. It's a multi-layered system. At current rates, it'll produce for another 200, 250 years. Okay. Doesn't produce very much. It's a dolomite. They've tried everything they could think of. Big bore wells, horizontal wells, hydraulic fracturing. Dolomites don't really like certain kinds of things. When you drill in a dolomite, what happens? You guys know? Sorry? Okay, and if you don't cool the bit, what's going to happen? What's it going to do with that dolomite? No. It'll melt might be a strong word, but it'll definitely glaze it. You know, it'll cause a glazed surface. So when they thought they would develop the Hugoton with horizontal wells, it didn't work out so well. So they went back to vertical wells with hydraulic fracturing. But what's a normal pressure gradient? Just curious. Yeah. okay, which would be 0.465 psi per foot. Okay. And that would say that at 2,200 feet deep, sorry I used feet and all that, but you know, you got to live in the real world, my friend. Multiplying 2,200 by 0.465 would be about 1,000, right? More or less. Yeah, this is higher math. What was the discovery pressure of the Hugoton field? 2,200 feet deep. You got nothing? It was 415 psi. So it is significantly under pressure. Okay. You'd have to talk to a geologist as to why, but we'll talk a lot more about the Hugoton whenever we talk about some of the flow equations. Because back in the 1930s, when people were looking at gas deliverability, they were finding that cases like that, the performance followed a pressure squared law, and they couldn't figure out why. And it turns out that it's easy to derive that. There's a country that's sitting on an ocean of low pressure gas. You guys know what country that is? An ocean of low pressure gas. It's Turkmenistan. You ever heard of Turkmenistan? Do you want to work there? No? Mr. Ravi Kumar, your advisor is Dr. Lee. You going to visit with him tomorrow? I want you to tell him that you're contemplating taking a job in Turkmenistan and see what his reaction is. He went there about 15 years ago for USAID, and when he came back, he was just about to put his passport in the shredder and say he was never going to leave the United States again. I did that my last trip to Norway. Okay, this is our schedule. Unfortunately, I need you to be really flexible. I am here next week, but I have to leave for a flight on Wednesday, so I'll probably do Monday and Tuesday. Do you guys have a conflict with Tuesday? No? Good. Great. Okay, so we'll meet on Tuesday. And then Alex will use Friday nights. Yes?
At the same time?
Yeah, I just need to block the room.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you know, I have to send you an email every time I do this because I have to go through the administration to get it on other nights. I mean, I guess I could get them to block out every night, but then the people in distance learning would see a video popping up, and somebody has to delete the videos that we don't use. At any rate, so just be patient with me. The following week, I'm not here at all, but the week after I am. I might do a class or two from distance, but we'll get caught up. The really ugly travel is October because of the SPE, and then again in early November, but I think we'll get all caught up. Just bear with me. There may be some times when we have to meet 4 times a week, and I just want you to be patient. I know, but then there'll be other times when you don't see me for a while. So, you know, it's kind of like a happy relationship. You know, you'll always look forward to seeing me. Okay, so no class on Thanksgiving, and then the Americans in the room all know the cliche about the exceptions making the rules. So why do I go into so much detail on the syllabus? The university tells us it's a contract. Okay? So I try to put everything humanly possible in the contract. The blue is all taken from the registrar's websites, and this corresponds exactly to our requirements here. Okay. Anybody graduating this semester? Say no, please. Okay, very good. Because it's going to be tough. You'll turn in your final exam on the 11th, and we have to have grades ready by the 18th, which shouldn't be a problem. But if it was the 14th, that could be difficult. Okay. Here's something called the reading portfolio. I love reading, and I'm going to make you love it too. So what I need you to do is take this version in Microsoft Word. I gave you the PDF and the Word file, and you'll put the name of the reference here, and you'll read it and you'll type a few bullets in for me. At least 2 bullets per topic are required. And this is the easiest 20 points you're ever going to get. All you got to do is read and write, read and write. No copying, but read and write. Okay. So if you had 2 screens, you could have the paper up on one screen and this up on the other. And you could have a beer, write your paper review, and so on. You'll submit a single PDF file on the 13th of November with all these. And there are 30 of them. Okay. 30 of them. This isn't really that bad. Why do I make you read? How many of you are athletes? Anybody? No? A little bit? A lot? Some? What kind of athlete?
I played basketball and football.
Okay. Did coach ever make you run up and down the stairs?
Yes.
Did you like that? I hated it too. Okay. I know to look at me you can't see it, but yeah, I hated it too. Unfortunately, some of this is running up and down the stairs, but the scenery changes, okay, because you're reading different things.
It's better than on the stair step inside.
That's sort of what this is. Very good. Thank you for the analogy. Okay. For those who don't like to exercise, sorry. Okay. Ladies, there's a lot of geology in here, so it's not hard. It's just I need you to realize there's going to be a lot of talking about how people characterize rocks and things like that. And if you've got an interest in petroleum engineering, this is the place to start. What about number 28? How oil is found. Do you guys know, oops, we're out of time in about 10 seconds, what sadism is? Yeah. This is a little bit sadistic on my part. This is a really old book that's out of print that I found. And it's kind of like, I wouldn't say first grade reader, but I go back to it every now and then just to find things that are interesting. Probably most of it's wrong, but okay, it was written by a geologist. And you'll like it. Okay, the light's going to turn blue in just a second. I honestly don't know when, so let me start covering the next part. And here's sort of along the lines of where the topics are as opposed to the lecture. So I'm sort of mapping it here. Apologies that, you'll turn it in before, well, we'll probably cover most of that. And then we have the homework portfolio, and here's all the problems in there. And, okay, almost all of these are solved problems or problems that have a solution in the notes. What does that mean? This is not hard, right? Hello? This is like almost idiot proof. Almost. All right? All of this is in the notes or the solutions are given. Everybody happy? Juan, you look like you're seeing a ghost. This is an easy 60 points. No, sorry, the other was 15, this is 60. Yep. And then last, and this tells you how you have to submit your homework portfolio. The last will be the final exam, and again, we'll give that out on the 4th of December. I will update the syllabus and change the date, of course, the version date, and post that maybe later tonight, probably tomorrow. It's kind of late and I'm tired. Last word, why do I have class at night?
No classes.
Excellent. We own the room, we own the building. We don't have to put up with anything from anybody. Okay. You guys night owls? No, the Norwegians are. What's it, about 4 a.m. for you? I know, just giving you a hard time. Yes, sir.
Will there be assignments apart from?
No, just this, just these. This is it. Reading portfolio, homework portfolio, and final exam. And after talking with my shadow over there, I think you're right. I think we should do a StayFest problem. And we'll give them a piece of Excel code if they want to use that. That's a good idea. Shouldn't get out of here without calculating something. Okay. Any questions? Last words? Yes, ma'am. Sorry, let's.
Do we still turn in the homeworks even though they are already solved?
Explain it to him. Running up and down stairs. Yes. The whole point is for you to walk through the same steps. I know this is insulting, but I promise you, by the time you're done, you're either going to love me or hate me or love to hate me. Okay? I'm like a virus, okay? And I'm still alive. So it's going to turn out fine. I know it looks like a lot of work, and it is not trivial, but it's going to be okay. You're going to like it by the time we're done. Comments? Yes? Yeah, I'll give you a week. Yep. And to be honest, at least until Alex mentioned this, I mean, I would have estimated a few hours per problem, and by that, a couple of them were probably an hour or two. One or two of them may have been a little bit more than that. But I mean, I'm talking about it from my perspective because I know the problems. But you're not looking at working on that for a solid week. My concern about giving it to you on the 4th is that it could interfere with your other exams. But because of the Thanksgiving holiday, I do not want to give it to you before Thanksgiving. I guess we could. Let's just do it this way. I think it's better this way. Okay. It should not kill you. And I don't technically have a problem with releasing it before the 4th, but I don't want it to conflict with you turning in the homework portfolio. That's my big fear. Our previous experience, Alex, is that everybody rushes to finish the homework portfolio because they didn't do it in a timely manner. And then they get to the final exam and they're just exhausted and they need some more time. So that's, I guess what I want you to walk out of here is, right now, I think everybody in this class should make an A. The reading portfolio is falling off a log easy. The homework portfolio is almost that easy. It's a lot of work, but it's almost that easy. And then the final exam, it will be challenging on some aspects. Don't underestimate it, but it shouldn't kill you. And the purpose of all of this is to ensure that you have a mastery of the material. Look, forget the assignments for a second. Just close your eyes and listen. We are going to go from sand grains to the classical reservoir engineering solutions. This is going to be a nice journey. It's going to be a journey of learning. I've had a lot of people through this class. I've had some people who had emotional events. I've had people who've had, used what we've done to create research. I really think this is going to be something that helps you. And if I'm wrong, look, I buy you pizza, I give you the candy bucket, I torture the Norwegians. What more could you ask for? Okay. This thing's still red. That means we probably have until 9:20, but I'm going to stop now. Last question, anybody?
60 points. Are those problems also typed in Word?
Are they?
Problems we need to submit, do we type them in Word?
I would prefer that, yes. If you don't want to do that, you could do it in Excel. Well, Excel's not going to work here. You could do it in PowerPoint. I strongly encourage you to type it if your handwriting is no good. If your handwriting is good, fine. But, Alex, you want to give a word to the wise? The worst case we had last year was handwriting. Worst. I'm not talking about like a little bit. I'm talking about that. Okay? So, and it had nothing to do with typing or handwriting. It just, they did not take it seriously. Comment?
Do your best work regarding the typing stuff. You'll find out that it's much easier typing your solution rather than handwriting all the way. Nothing else.
I mean, you may want to write it out by hand as a draft and then type it. You know, that would be my suggestion. I also thought about, I usually give a petrophysics problem, but I didn't this time. But I'm probably not. It's like a hobby. Last words? Who wants it? Norwegians? No?
I have to comment about all the, we're going to read all 30 notes, right?
Turn the volume up.
We're going to read all 30 different articles, right?
Lectures or papers.
Just maybe think about the saying that first we learn to read, then we read to learn. It's a good saying, actually.
I'm going to give you a hug. That's beautiful. I hope you already know how to learn to read, or know how to read, sorry. And now you're going to read to learn. Yeah. You're going to enjoy this. Plus, you know, by the time we're done, we'll turn you into Trump voters. So there. It's a joke, okay?
By the way, you didn't tell us your most embarrassing story.
Not embarrassing, stupid.
Stupid.
Well, number one, oops, blue now. Let me stop the video.